Hello, good morning. I was having a little trouble going live. Said live stream is not available right now. So here we are. And I've got some things I've got to do today, and it's going to be beautiful. So our daisies for the day is form good habits. They're as hard to break as bad ones. So that's a nice one here. All right, in our Woman's Book of Courage, it's not just for women. Everybody can be courageous. So, filling ourselves first. We know it is important for our sense of well being to give. In fact, there has been a scientific study which shows that the immune system responds positively when we help others and can be activated by merely watching a film about someone helping others. Wow, that's pretty powerful. But it is not healthy to give until we feel drained, used, and deprived. Such giving can be laced with hostility, resentment, anger, and the unspoken message, now you owe me. This is not loving. This is bartering. We love best from a sense of overflow, when we are brimming with the energy that comes with having the courage to take care of ourselves first. Our love and caring are freely given gifts with nothing expected in return. Our minds may tell us that filling ourselves first is an act of selfishness. It seems to go against society's dictum, particularly addressed, come on, Bester, stop, particularly addressed to women, that it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. It takes a tremendous amount of courage to realize that filling ourselves is essential. Self care is a must. Come on, Bester, give me that. He really wants to play right now. It takes even more courage to know how to do it, especially if we are out of the habit of thinking about nourishing ourselves. To help move into the healthy pattern of filling yourself, ask yourself these questions and jot down the answers. Excuse me. What replenishes me so that I can love freely? What small step can I take today to allow time for myself to fill and refill? We can do ourselves and those we love a favor by having the courage to fill our life's base, by making a commitment to ourselves that in order to be a free flowing, clear fountain of love, we will fill ourselves first. So, our affirmation is we give ourselves permission to fill our vase to overflowing, fill your cup to overflowing. You have to care for yourself, or you're not going to be healthy enough to care for others. When we care for others too much, we're avoiding doing our own work. So we freely love others from a sense of overflow. And it is loving for us to fill our own vase. Self-love, self-care is an absolute must in the healing process. Because if we're avoiding all of our stuff, then we're not doing it right. We are avoiding, absolutely. Substance over form in the language of letting go. I'm learning that for a variety of reasons, I've spent much of my life focusing on form rather than substance. My focus has been on having my hair done perfectly, wearing the right clothes, having my makeup applied perfectly, living in the right place, furnishing it with the right furniture, working at the right job, and having the right man. Form rather than substance has controlled my behavior in many areas of my life. Now I'm finally getting to the truth. It's substance that counts. That's by Anonymous. There is nothing wrong in wanting to look our best, whether we're striving to create a self, a relationship, or life. We need to have some solid ideas about what we want that to look like. Form gives us a place to begin, but for many of us, form has been a substitute for substance. We may have focused on form to compensate for feeling afraid or feeling inferior. We may have focused on form because we didn't know how to focus on substance. Form is the outline, substance is what fills it. We fill in the outline of ourselves by being authentic. We fill in the outline of our life by showing up for life and participating to the best of our ability. Stop it, Buster. Now, in recovery, we're learning to pay attention to how things work and feel, not just to what they look like. Buster, he keeps running into my feet. He's like letting me know. Pick me, pick me. Not right now. Today I will focus on substance in my life. I will fill the lines of myself with a real person, me. I will concentrate on the substance of my relationships rather than what they look like. I will focus on the real workings of my life instead of the trappings. So that's what we're focusing on. Focus on healing instead of the outer. You got to heal the inside, especially that wounded inner child. Absolutely. It is so chilly today. So we're moving on to Until Today. I've got an extra copy I'm going to deliver today. It's going to be a beautiful day. And then the full moon is going on right now, so we're going to a full moon meditation in the candlelight at Crystal Lake Park. It's going to be beautiful. I will realize my own worth when I accept all aspects of who I am are important. So we're working on our worth the month of October. But we're also doing the June forgiveness because forgiveness is very important. Could it be that you cannot see yourself as a valuable and worthy person because you know how mean, ugly, and nasty you can be? I used to struggle with this very much. Perhaps it is difficult to accept that you are worthy of love, honor, and respect because you have seen your dark side and you know what you are capable of doing. If this is the case, relax. Everybody has a dark side, and it has nothing to do with whether or not you're worthy. If you want to experience the truth of who you are and establish a sense of self-worth, you must be willing to examine and explore your dark side. You must acknowledge how bad you can be. You must accept how horribly unloving you can behave. You must also admit that there were times when the darkness got the best of you, causing you to act like a real lowlife. Dark thoughts, dark habits, and dark tendencies push you toward the light. As long as you are reaching for or searching for the light, you stay above the darkness. I want to add that oftentimes people get really skilled at acting and don't want anybody to see what they're really thinking. So they hide their dark side and they don't allow that. And it's not a healthy way to either be acting or to only be the dark side and the icky person. Either way, it's not a balance at all. That's why I say over and over, you have to navigate the dark. You have to do your shadow work. Hello, good morning, good morning. talking about riding through the darkness and the shadow work. And we're worthy even when we're on our ugly side. When you know how deep and dark your dark side is, it helps you stand a little taller in the light. You know better than anyone from whence you came. When you know how far down in the darkness you could have been or could be, the knowledge pushes you a little further, a little faster. When you have seen the faces of your dark side, do not believe that they make you unworthy. Acknowledge them, learn from them, forgive them. When you can do that, you transform their energy into more light. Until today, you may have believed that having a dark side makes you unworthy to seek the light or see the light. Just for today, remember that only stars shine in the darkness. I know that, yeah, only stars shine in the darkness. Transform the energy of your dark side to enhance your star quality. We're all shining stars, little beautiful rock stars, right? Today, I'm devoted to forgiving and transforming any darkness in our life. So today, we are devoted to forgiving and transforming any darkness in our life. So since that's about forgiveness, we're going to rewind back to June 13th for forgiveness. And yesterday, we forgave our mother. All month, we've been forgiving ourselves, like from the first. So today, we forgive our Father. We are now willing to forgive ourselves for the judgments that we have held about and against our Father. These ones have been so powerful for me. The universe does not edit your vocabulary. When you use a word, it ascribes the universal concept to the word. For example, let's examine the word Father. In the spiritual context, the word Father means mind, provider, protector, God, the universal divine mind. Consequently, when you use the word Father, the universe does not search out your meaning. You say Father, the universe hears God, mind, provider, protector. Forgive your Father. Forgive him not because you want to get right or be right with God. Forgive him so you can be right with yourself. Forgive your Father, whether or not he said all the right things. Forgive him whether or not he gave you the right amount of time and energy. Forgive him whether or not he was there to teach you what you needed to know about life. Forgive your Father because you are confusing the universe. The judgments you hold against your Father may be construed as judgments you are holding against the Father. But that just really depends what you see the universal spirit, the divine creator as. Forgive your Father because holding judgments about him and against him are construed as judgments about the divine mind. These are the judgments that cause confusion, anger, and shame you experience or harbor in your own mind. Forgive your Father because until you do, the love you are seeking will continue to elude you. If you cannot forgive him, how can you ever forgive yourself for the things you have told yourself about you? Lots of my stuff about my feelings came from my father, my biological earthly father, my mother and father. And so I had lots of unforgiveness I had to work through. Until today, you may not ever realize what you think, feel, and judge about your own Father is construed by the universal intelligence as judgments about the one true Father. Just for today, open your heart to the Father. Ask him to give you the courage and compassion to forgive yourself for judging your Father. And we have to remember that, like my father was trained by his father, who lost his father when he was just 12 to suicide. And then my grandfather killed himself later. And it's all a bunch of wrong programming, alcoholism that goes way back. And it's a really negative, icky energy, condescending, sarcastic, And that's just who they are. I can't blame him for not being able to do better than he was taught to do. He did the best he knew how to do. And until they know better, they can't start doing better. And this is a constant work in progress. Absolutely, it is. So today, we are devoted to opening our heart to forgive ourselves for the judgments we have made, we have held about our Father. And these ones, those forgiving your parents is very, very powerful, very healing, very cleansing. It took me till I was so way older to forgive my parents. I was in my self-image classes when I had to write those forgiveness letters. And I sent one to my dad, never expecting him to write back because he did not. Those last couple times in prison, he didn't even come visit me when my mom came. And the second time my mom came every once in a while, and the third time she only came like twice. I was very alone. Really never felt so alone in my life. So in Inner Peace for busy people, go out into nature. Over the years, I've informally polled thousands of people about the things they do to take care of themselves. Going out into nature is the top of the list. Returning to the natural world is my favorite self-care activity as well, and it has been since childhood. At 16, when I finally had the driver's license that most teens covet, my first big excursion was a day's mini wilderness trip. Two friends and I, eager to leave suburbia for something wilder and more primal, packed our knapsacks and set out for western Massachusetts. We hiked by a stream, entranced by the pink roots of willow trees that floated like fairy hair in the shallow water. Lying on our backs in a grassy field, faces warmed by the late autumn sun, we watched the patterns of the clouds. The sweet fragrance of hay rose from the earth to touch the sky. Toward evening, we collected deadfall and kindled a fire over which we roasted hamburger shaped into long rolls around green sticks. We sang favorite songs and shared the stories of our lives around the flickering magic of the fire. As we gathered our things by the light of the moon, three very different girls from the ones who had left suburban Boston that morning piled back into the car. We smelled of wood smoke and grass, of contentment. Peace, I learned, has a scent all of its own. In some indefinable way, we had come home to ourselves, entrained by the rhythm of the natural world. As an adult who lives on the edge of the wilderness, surrounded by the majesty of purple mountain peaks and riots of wildflowers in their short season, I still have to make a concerted effort to enjoy nature. And I'm not alone. During a trip to Hawaii, I invited the woman who had brought me there to take a walk on the beach. She was a bit shocked. It had been years since she had left the harried routine of home and office to enjoy a walk along the ocean that lay like a shimmering jewel at her feet. The invitation to find peace was all around, but she was too busy to accept it. How many of us are too busy to meditate and detach from everything? Many, many, too many. We are part of the natural world, interdependent with it, even though our culture tends to isolate us from it. But we cannot exist in a healthy balance outside nature because our bodies evolved in concert with it. For example, we need the cues of daybreak and nightfall to regulate brain function, emotions, and physical maturation. Modern girls reach puberty significantly earlier than young women did 100 years ago. This is due in part to electric lights that make days unnaturally long and nights too short. That is very interesting to learn, I think. No wonder it is. Girls are starting their periods earlier and everything. I know my kid did earlier than me, and I did way earlier than my mom. The great biologist Rene Dubois, believed that as we are retreating further and further from nature, we are becoming mutants. The earth is not only our home, it is a biological regulator, and it's available to every person, rich or poor, unless we're unfortunate enough to be in jail. The best vacation in our family's memory was camping trip we took when the children were small. We had very little money, so we rented a campsite on magnificent Martha's Vineyard and brought all of our food, even the cans of lemonade that saved us from having to buy higher priced sodas. Well, lemonade's better than soda anyway. We rode our bikes, went to the beach, and cooked simple dinners over an open fire. It was the happiest week we can remember. No hotel has nearly the amenities that nature does. It's worth a few bug bites and even a mild case of poison ivy to forage for wild berries or fish in a stream. Nature awakens deadened senses. It has the power to bring you back to life again. This week, think about your relationship to the natural world. Make a plan with family or friends to spend a day hiking, fishing, snowshoeing, horseback riding, country cross country skiing, sitting by a lake or stream, camping out in a tent under the stars, cooking over an open fire, or whatever you can all agree on. Even on days when you have to be inside, take a few breaks to walk around the block, or even to people whose hospital rooms overlooked nature. So if your window does overlook a parking lot, get a plant and put it on the sill. Tend it with care. Enjoy each new leaf as it unfolds. Nature can sustain you and bring you peace, even when it's working its magic from a pot. And I will absolutely affirm that. When winter rolls in here in Illinois, when I had my little house out in the country before we lost everything, I had an indoor garden, and it consisted of a wide variety of plants, some of them healing plants. And I am a badass gardener. And so I worked on my plants through the winter every morning when the music would rise and that guy would turn the music all the way up, and I couldn't even think over the noise and the vibrating of the house. I would go down in the basement where our garden was, and I would go tend to my babies. I would go out there and say, "Hey girls, you're looking beautiful." Go down there. And I would go spend time in my little areas where I could find solitude and peace that wasn't in the snow or the freezing cold. And I would meditate with my plants, and I would clip the dead things off, and I would water, and I would focus. I was meditating with my plants. I was connecting with nature. And when I can dig my hands in the dirt, up under my fingernails, and just be connected with the earth, which is no surprise because I have just as much earth as I do fire in my chart. Lots of earth sign. And in Vedic, I'm even a Capricorn rising, which is also an earth sign. So I have all kinds of earth, and it's very vital for me to connect with nature, even through the winter. So I have another book that is going to be, I'm going to start incorporating with. This book has helped me so very much. It's called Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, and it's 52 life-changing lessons for the 21st century, inspired by the virtues of Benjamin Franklin, who actually tried to do much for this country, going back and forth over to Europe in the very beginning. So I'm not going to read the introduction right now. I'm probably going to do it later. You know what? I could do it right now. Read the introduction, and then you work on one virtue a week. And it's a very short one, just like these ones. But you work on one for a whole week instead of working on one a day. You work on one for a week. So some of the examples of the things that you work with, she gives a working definition for it. And you can be more accepting. So when I was starting to do it, and I was seeing people berate and bash other people, they would say, oh my gosh, I can't believe she is doing that. This girl that I was in prison with, Janie. And she would say, oh my gosh, look at her and look at how her makeup is and blah, 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 or whatever. Or when girls would come in new after they had been in the ex house where they didn't have freedom of shower whenever they wanted. They had no freedom to do anything with their appearance. They had very little of anything. And so they looked rough. And the girls would say, oh my gosh, look at her. I would say, they just got here and you did not look hot when you got here either. You looked like a hot mess. So we're working on acceptance today. You can be accepting of who people are. That was very important about in my book Houses of Healing, in the class that I took that was about the book Houses of Healing, that we automatically judge people by their appearance, just by what they look like. We go into autopilot and judge them based on what they look like. So accepting is the first one, adaptable, adventurous, attentive. And then I would just pick one thing that I knew I was struggling with to work on. So patient is one of them, persistent, forgiving is one. So I will go ahead. And since we've got one person here, bless you for staying and listening. And I'm going to read the introduction. And then we will pick one thing to work on. Because on the first day, you ask to be more say you're working on acceptance that day, or you're working on forgiveness, or you're working. And then the second day, you affirm your desire, like you are saying, yes, I still want to be. So when I was waking up every morning, I was saying, Creator, help me to be. And I started listing each thing in order each day. And it was helping my memory and be okay with, like, even the fact that if I had to ask an officer, because I was in prison when I did that, if I could have a garbage bag, because that's how you can roll up your burritos and make your food and you put them in your hot pot. You need garbage bags. Some of them refuse and will not give you one. Well, other people would ask me to do it because I was not scared to go ask. I was not scared to go try things. I have never been scared to do anything. That's why I make such a great healer, because I experiment on myself with things first and realize if it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. The amount of drugs that I've done, not scared whether I was going to die or not, because at that point I didn't care, really affirmed that I wasn't scared to try anything. As a matter of fact, I tried lots of things, many, in abundance. There's really no reason I should be alive here today, right now, at all. I've overdosed and tried to kill myself so many times that it just wasn't my time yet. So let's get started with this introduction. It's by Andrea Rains Wagner. Many years ago, I decided I wanted a step box to use for step aerobics, which was just beginning to catch on in popularity. Unwilling to go out and spend money to buy a step box, I decided to build one. How hard could it be? It was just a rectangular wooden box. Even though I've never built anything before, I figured I could handle such a simple project. I happened to have a sheet of particle board left over from the same household project, and I decided to use it for the box. I had nails and I had a bone saw. A saw is a saw, right? I thought I could make do with it. After I determined the dimensions of my box, I carefully measured the particle board and outlined the pieces I needed to cut. Then I got to work with my small saw. That's when the trouble started. A bone saw, I discovered, is not the right tool for cutting particle board. Determined still, I sawed away with the bone until I had cut out my pieces. When I was done, though, the edges were jagged and uneven. I can still make it work, I thought. Resolutely, I got out my hammer and nails and began pounding the pieces together. The nails weren't quite long enough, and I hadn't cut any supports for the corners, so the joints were loose and unstable. But I doggedly kept at it. I finally got the box together. In the end, though, I wasn't pleased with the result. I had a crooked box that wobbled dangerously every time I stepped on it. I want to point out that particle board is not nearly as strong as, like, plywood at all. So it just depends if you're doing box jumps or what you're doing, and the amount of pressure you're going to put on it if you're stepping on it. Disappointed, I set the box aside. The next time my stepfather, Dad, came to visit, I showed it to him and asked whether he could help me make a better box. He stared in amazement at my pitiful excuse for a box and said, "That's a mess. You didn't have the right tools or materials. I'll make you a box." And he did. It's constructed of thick plywood. Dad cut out the box pieces using his bandsaw, and he put together with screws drilled in to support brackets at the corners. The box is stable and sturdy, and I still use it more than 10 years later. Life is like a step box. To build a good one, you need the right tools and materials. For life, of course, bandsaws, drills, plywood, and screws won't work. The right tools and materials for a great life are the qualities you develop within yourself to guide your conduct as you go through your days. Excuse me. Benjamin Franklin knew the value of using the right tools to guide his conduct. When he was a young man, he drew up a list of what he called virtues. He started with 12. When a friend pointed out to Franklin that Franklin was rather smug about his own merits, Franklin added a 13th virtue, humility. Franklin then set up a 13-week course for practicing his virtues. Each week he focused on one virtue, and he marked down in the diary the progress he made towards practicing the virtue. He repeated the 13-week course 4 times a year. When I first heard of Franklin's virtues, I was inspired. Benjamin Franklin was an amazing man, a forward thinker, a man of great intellect, creativity, drive, and passion. Franklin was as he preached, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I wanted to develop in myself whatever it took to have a life as full and productive as his was. So I decided I needed to take a look at my own conduct and set up some guidelines. I thought Franklin's list of virtues, though laudable, were a bit dated. I also thought the list wasn't complete. So I came up with my own list, choosing virtues I believe are necessary to create a rich, full, and happy life. Instead of calling the items on my list virtues, I call them qualities. I like the double meaning of the word quality, which is defined as both a characteristic of something or someone and a level of excellence. When you have certain characteristics or qualities, you create that excellence or quality in your life. And when you create that excellence and quality, you transform your inner self. This book is a collection of 52 qualities that will help you build a life of excellence. Borrowing Franklin's idea, the qualities are set up as a 52-week course, one quality per week. Each week you will read a discussion of what it means to have the quality and how you can get it. You will then apply each day one of the 7 suggestions for creating that quality in your life. At the end of the year, you will have worked on all 52 qualities. You may do this program just once, or you can do it every year, as Franklin did. I work this program all the time. Many of these qualities are tough ones to create, and they take continued effort. But struggling through your days takes effort too. Why not use your energy to transform your life instead of wasting your energy doing the same old things to get the same old results? Nothing changes if nothing changes, right? The first 3 days of the week, you will do the same tasks for each quality. Ask for it, affirm it, and act as if you have the quality. On day 1, you will ask for the quality. You will put a request out to the universe for the quality, or if you're comfortable praying, you'll say a prayer asking the divine for the ability to have the quality. Just remember, you won't magically be given the quality. You will be given situations that allow you to practice developing the quality. Ask the universe or God, whatever you call your higher power, to help you learn the quality from situations you experience with clarity, not confusion. You'll be amazed at how you'll be given gentle opportunities to develop the quality you're working on. On day 2, you will affirm your desire for the quality. Say, I am the quality you're working on. That's the power of I am. Several times throughout the day. You need to begin thinking of yourself as having that quality, or that I am healed, or I am healing. You can even start switching your words to say, I'm not feeling good today, but I'm speaking into better things. I'm praying for better things. I'm hoping for better things. Stuff like that. It's all about retraining your brain instead of saying, oh, I'm so sick, and you're going to keep staying sick. If you keep telling yourself that you are sick, people do not understand the power of thought and the power of words. Many people do not, and they are literally speaking death upon themselves. And it's kind of exhausting to keep having to say the same thing. If people aren't open to receiving that and open to changing their mind, it's exhausting for me. And I end up having to walk away from them. You need to begin thinking of yourself as having that quality. Saying I am the quality you're working on will help you do this. That's day 2. On day 3, you will act as if you have the quality. Maybe you don't have the quality you're working on yet. That's okay. On day 3, you will play Let's Pretend. Let's pretend I'm the quality you're working on, whatever we're working on that week. So if you are following along and you have a suggestion and there's something you want to work on, by all means, let me know, because I'll see if it's on here. Pretend you are a person who has that quality. As you go through the day, be like an actor playing a role. Play the role of a person who has the quality. What would a person with that quality do? Act that way. It may feel unnatural at first, but the more you do it, the more natural it will become. Eventually, you will no longer be role playing. You will have the quality you're working on. As you read about and practice the qualities in this book, you'll notice some of the qualities may seem to contradict others on the list. For instance, the quality of being present would seem to be inconsistent with the being goal-oriented. How can you have all the qualities at the same time? Why would you want to? Well, let's go back to the step box. In order to build that box, Dad needed the tools that were, when you think about it, inconsistent with each other. Saws cut things down so you can take them apart. Screws hold things together. Obviously, though, Dad needed the different tools for the different parts of his project. Qualities work the same way. To build a quality life, a life of excellence, like this sturdy box my dad built for me, you will need different tools for different times. Sometimes you will need to be determined, and sometimes you will need to be patient. Sometimes you will want to be strong, and sometimes you will want to be playful. While some of the qualities will seem at odds with each other, others will seem quite similar. Purposeful and intentional, for example, are almost the same. Almost, but not quite. Think of the tools for that step box again. I learned that all saws are not the same. A bone saw and a bandsaw may be similar, but the effect of each is quite different. The same is true of a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver. Some qualities have subtle differences. If you practice them all, you will have just the right one you need for whatever comes your way in life. The key to building excellence is having all the tools and learning when to use each one. Developing the 52 qualities in this book will put all the tools you need for a quality life at your fingertips. Practicing them weekly will give you the experience you need so you will know when to use each quality to create the excellent life you want. I have organized the book alphabetically because The order in which you work on the qualities doesn't matter so much as the work itself. If some of the qualities call to you more than others, do those first. You can practice the qualities in any order you desire, and having the qualities in alphabetical order will help you easily find the ones you want. The only quality placed out of alphabetical order is joyful, which is placed at the end because all the other qualities lead up to being joyful. When you develop the qualities in this book and learn to use them well in your life, you create a quality life. The bottom line of a quality life is being joyful. You may notice, by the way, that some obvious qualities are missing from the book. Qualities such as happy, exhilarated, exuberant, delighted, triumphant, bubbly, jubilant, vivacious, and energetic. These aren't accidental oversights. These qualities are natural byproducts of your inner transformation. They are the results of creating your best self. It may seem like a daunting task at first to develop 52 qualities in yourself. As my father-in-law said when I told him about the book, I have enough trouble with the 10 Commandments. I don't know whether I could keep track of that many qualities. Well, I didn't say it would be easy, but worth the effort, definitely. When you develop the qualities in this book, you create a personal advisor, problem solver, cheerleader within yourself that can guide you through every aspect of your life. Before I began working on the qualities of this book, I devoured self-help books and tapes, looking for ways to deal with problems I faced and searching for advice on how to get what I wanted from life. I thought someone out there could tell me what I needed to do. Once I began changing my inner self, however, I found that I knew what I needed to do. I also was better able to do it. Every aspect of my life has improved since I began working on my inner qualities. My health, I've lost a lot of weight and no longer suffer from the extreme mood swings of bipolar disorder. My relationships, I found the love of my life and created a more direct relationship with my parents. My career, I began selling books after years of rejections. And my spiritual life, I feel more at peace and have more joy in my days. And even though it requires some work, it's not tedious work. This can be a fun process if you take it a day at a time and approach it with an enthusiastic spirit. To learn how to be enthusiastic, check out passionate and spirited. See, and some of them will be synonyms. You can use the same, they'll have the same aspect. It's just a different word. So go ahead and jump in. Spend the next year collecting the tools you need to live the life you've always wanted to lead. Think of it as the scavenger hunt for the best parts of yourself. Be prepared for some challenges as you embark on transforming your inner self. But don't let those challenges discourage you. Your inner transformation is the key that will unlock the door to excellence in your life experiences. Isn't that worth a little bit of effort? So transform your inner life. Practice the qualities. Grab that key. A quality life is waiting for you. So when you retrain and you can say that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, you are a divine spiritual being. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are worthy. So say those on yourself. Start writing an affirmation. Write 3 on your mirror each day. So right now, I think I'm going to go to patient. And it's only a couple pages. It's 2.5 pages. So it's really not going to be that much to add to each day because we're not going to have to read it every day. You read it once and then you work on that aspect all week long. So patient. And she gives a working definition like Iyanla Vanzant does in One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. Patient is a dog waiting for its master to come home from work at the end of a long day. Patient is trusting and expectant. It is hopeful and faithful. Patient knows that what it wants will come in time and it's willing to wait. Patient knows that everything that needs to happen is happening, even in the stillness of what looks like nothing. So when we're suffering greatly and life just seems unbelievably miserable and it seems like nothing is going to get better, Patience truly is a quality and virtue that we must have. Excuse me. I'm healed by the power of Christ. Hanging from the roof over the covered part of my back deck is a set of wind chimes. In the winter, with the nearly constant wind on the coast, I get used to hearing the wind chimes on my deck daily. So when the soothing, rich sound stopped one day, I noticed the silence. Looking outside, I saw the source of my problem. My chimes had become entangled. Wrapped up together, they could no longer move freely and make that peaceful sound I love so much. All they could offer was a dull clunk. Excuse me. When I saw the chimes were tangled, I was too busy to do anything about it. Every day for a couple weeks, I wanted to go out and untangle the chimes, and every day something came up to distract me. In the end, I never had to do anything. One day, after a particularly brisk windstorm, I heard a sound I hadn't heard in a while. I heard my chimes. I looked outside, and there they were, hanging straight and untangled. When something tangles up in your life, when a relationship becomes awkward, a job becomes difficult, or conflict arises, your natural instinct probably is to rush and fix the problem. But often, efforts to untangle a problem results in more tangles. Sometimes the fixing makes things worse. And being a jewelry maker of hemp, working with hemp, knots and tangles are very, very familiar in my life, because the way they wind those balls up is unbelievable when it all comes unraveled. I think they could wrap it around a something cylinder. There's a better way they could do it. I could show them better ways to do it. All the manufacturers of hemp in a big ball. Time is often your best friend. Problems that seem unsolvable have a way of solving themselves when you relax, take a step back, and patiently wait to see what unfolds. Life has a way of bringing in winds that by their own power shift things around, often for the better. In other words, some things have a life or timing of their own. So how do you know when you need to take action versus when you need to do nothing? Trust your gut. If you're not sure exactly what to do nothing until you get an idea. Doing the wrong thing is worse than doing nothing at all. Similarly, if you keep getting pulled away from the problem by other, more pressing situations, trust the timing. Sometimes you really are better off when you just let things happen. Step back and let go and let the universe take control, because there are miracles and divine connections and synchronicities just waiting when you let go and quit seeking. It comes to you. I promise you it does. Doing nothing is an important part of being patient, but it isn't always the right thing. Hold on. Wait. Trust. I skipped down. Similarly, if you keep getting pulled away from the problem by other more pressing situations, trust the timing. Divine timing is always going to happen. Sometimes you really are better off when you just let things happen. Doing nothing is an important part of being patient, but it isn't always the right thing. Usually, you do need to take action. Even then, while you're moving toward your goal, you need to be patient. For years, I have submitted my writing, fiction and nonfiction books, essays, and so on, to publishers, editors, and agents. The submission process is one that requires almost superhuman patience. The review time is always long, and when my work is rejected, I have to try again and again. It goes on and on. Many times during the last several years, I've given up on sending out my writing. Eventually, though, I'd gather my strength and submit again. The ability to keep going, even when your goal eludes you, is another important part of being patient. When you're patient, you can wait calmly and expectantly for what you want to reach you, or for you to reach it. You can always spot patient people in a long line. They're the ones standing quietly still. They're smiling and looking around, chatting calmly with someone nearby, or reading. They're not tapping their feet, fidgeting, looking at their watch, or complaining. You can learn from patient people. Practice stillness. Practice being okay with the lack of movement in your life. Whether you do nothing or something, you need to pave the way to your destination with a thick layer of patience. Being patient will give you a solid road to stand on while you hang in there until whatever you want shows up on the horizon. So, day one is to ask to be patient, whether you say it in a prayer, whether you just send it out there, whether you start affirming it to yourself. Because, well, day two is going to be affirming that we are patient. We are becoming patient. We really are. I don't want to say you want to, because if we keep saying want, then we're going to keep wanting things. We have to speak that we have them. We have to speak that they're in existence. We have to manifest the goodness and the good things. So when we keep saying, I want, no, say, I have, I am. Not wanting is going to keep you wanting things, right? So you have to be, some of these I'm going to have to switch around now that I am very aware of these things. I have to be able to switch those things around and manifest them for myself. So the things that I want, I'm already speaking so much into existence. I send healing, love, and light to everybody all over the world, especially those hearts that hurt others. And I know their hearts are healing. I know that they're starting to face their inner demons. I know that they're starting to do their shadow work. I know this. And so I patiently wait for the divine timing for things to start connecting and transpiring again. Because everybody all over the world is getting in touch with their inner self. Absolutely, they are. They are healing. Goodness. So that is all for right now. I do have some things to do, but I will be back later to do our One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. But I just got that book in the mail yesterday, and it was a very powerful book for me. And so some of the books that I've lost that helped me so much, when I remember them, and I found that little book down the road about the high flying kites. It's in a little library that's just right around the corner from my house. And people can put books in it, and you can take books out and you can put books in it. So I'm probably going to go put some of the books that I no longer want to read or have a desire to have. I can go put them in there, and I can take a book out. But I found the book, The High Flying Kites. And since that is my last name, and it had Benjamin Franklin in it, it reminded me of the book that has helped me so very much. And that the principles, the qualities, the virtues that we can work on one each day is very, very important for us. So I'm going to go for now. Whoever you are just joining us, I love you so much. And you'll have to rewind it after it uploads. And we added a new book, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, which is just a short reading. I did the introduction today. So, oh yes, we do need a story for the moon. Do you have a suggestion? If not, I'm going to do some researching today. I do have some little goodies I have to go to deliver to some people today that are really struggling and need some healing, and all of this stuff that I've been making my little bath salts with coconut oil and all of that stuff, and my oils that I've been making and stuff that people who are really, really suffering. I have a desire to share my goodness and the things that help me with the people that I love so much that are really struggling. And their birthday is coming up. So it's very important. Okay. Well, I will look into that, and I will see if I can find a good story about the moon. I do have my moon magic book, but I think that we could, let me write that down because I will certainly forget. As soon as I click end, I certainly will. Matter of fact, I have a little notepad right on my phone. So I'll do that. Oh, and our scripture pop up for the day was whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are pure. No, it's not. How did that happen? That is exactly what it popped up on my screen. That said yesterday, whatsoever things are lovely. Let's see what today's was. I'll put that on my list about the moon, though. We could definitely get a story about the moon because it's a beautiful full moon right now, and I'm going to a candlelight yoga meditation tonight at 6:30 at the park. So today's is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. When all has been heard, the end of the matter is. I don't agree with that. It says, fear God. Yes, I'm a song person. I get totally speak. I listen to Bruno Mars, Talking to the Moon, but that's a love song. And it says, people think I'm crazy, but they don't understand. Like, he's talking about how the town thinks they've gone mad because he's talking to the moon. And that's one of my favorite songs that I sing because my neighbors do probably think I'm crazy. I don't care. Probably my whole town even says I'm the talk of the town. They say I've gone mad. Yeah, absolutely. So this says fear God. I'm not even gonna. No, it says worship with all filled reverence, knowing that He is Almighty God, and keep His commandments. For this applies to every person. That is actually in the Old Testament anyway. And whoever distorted it to make us want to fear our Creator is, yes, see, we have gone mad. See, look up that song by Bruno Mars, Talking to the Moon. We've all gone mad. I definitely, because I've been talking to the moon, singing to the moon. Absolutely. And sometimes I wonder, he says, if I'm going to be a fool. So, anyway, that's what it is. Or am I just a fool talking to the moon? So that's one of my favorite songs right now. And then the song to me came the other night when I was outside. This song from the movie Mannequin. That's Nothing's Gonna Stop Us. Do you remember that song? Nothing's gonna stop us now. And I was out there singing that like 2 nights ago. It just came to me like, so nothing is going to stop us when we're working together and we're working for truth and peace. Absolutely. I love that song. So we can build this dream together. Yes, I love that song. So I was out there singing and dancing. And then the next day I was like, so emotional. It's like my heart opened up and I just started crying when I was talking to somebody. I was crying in my room. Stuff's going on in California. I had to check on the people. It was a very emotional day. What is today? Sunday. So maybe it was Friday that happened. And I was just like, I don't want to say a basket case, that it's like I was opened wide open. And now I got back centered a little bit. So let's see if we can find a good story about the moon or songs. I love songs. I am spoken to through music at all times. So it's and I love music and I listen to music all the time. So I've got to get a few things together before because we were going to have to start leaving here in a minute to go deliver some things. I love you all so much, so very much. And I will reconnect with you again. I've had some seriously crazy stuff going on with my phone, and I detached, changed my number again. I'm like freaking out, and I'm not dealing with this stuff. Oh, my laptop is gonna die, so I have to go. I love you guys so much, and I send you abundant healing, love, and light. And I'm so happy that we're all working together. All right, have a beautiful day.